Just take a moment and sell me on Cincinnati Chili.
Oh, man, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, let me sell you on this meaty sauce. Have you had it?
Yeah, it's like spaghetti with just like ragu on it, right?
Yeah, right. It's I was gonna say you gotta go the spaghetti route. You gotta get the 3-way. Skyline's the one. But there's a lot of smaller places. If you're ever up there, we'll hit up some smaller ones. You got to give a shout out to Camp Washington Chili. That's a small one. That's an old one too. But so many people have mixed feelings on that. I love it. I don't know.
What do you regularly spend too much money on?
Records. Records and books.
Is there a rare find or like a record you found that you think is amazing?
We were just talking about this. There's an album. It's a Bob Seger album. It's actually his first album, I believe. That's actually pretty hard to find. It's called Back in '72, and it's an album. It's not on Spotify or anything like that. And I don't know how I even came across it or learned about it, but it's got it was recorded in Muscle Shoals, or at least some of it, and it's got the first version of Turn the Page, which is completely different from the one that got popular. And I actually found it on vinyl because I looked for it for the longest time and then found like a beat up copy. But the vinyl itself was still good. Oh man, I paid so much money for it. It's stupid, but for a record. But I don't know. I had to have it.
How do you organize your vinyl?
Now I try to do it by like genre, kind of. Or I'll have each artist. All my Prine records are together. Then I know where all my hip hop records are, and then all my. So yeah, genre for the most part, and then keep the artists together.
You mentioned Prine, so let's talk about Prine a little bit, actually.
Yep.
I wanted, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about how you and Prine got together, and I'd love to hear if you've got a good John Prine story.
I only got to meet him once. I'd played with him once before. The way that it all went down is we played Americana Fest down here. Maybe 2017, maybe 2018. I'm not sure, but we played this little pop-up bar called the Tree of Forgiveness, and that's where I met Jody. So Jody and I had become friends over the years, and then we were playing the High Watt in Nashville, and Jody told me that Fiona was coming out, which John's wife. I knew that she was coming, but I had no idea that John was going to be coming. So I'm standing there talking to Jody, and he's introducing me to Fiona, and we're talking. And Jody says, and no need to introduce the guy down there. And literally like right next to me, there stands John Prine. And it was like the first time I'd like fanboyed out. It's kind of hard not to when he was there. And it was just a cool thing because it was a Thursday night, a pretty small bar. So for him to even like come out on a Thursday in Nashville, knowing that he's probably going to get hounded by people and stuff, that was just that's a pretty cool thing, man. So we just talked. He said he was excited to see me play. And I guess he had already heard a little bit of my stuff. I guess that was the night, though, that they all decided that they would move forward with me. I know for John himself, it was Bag of Pills is what grabbed his attention. I think from what I understand, Jody, I think they were sitting around and Jody played it for him. Then I guess had him played again or something like that. I heard said, play that song again, or like, who's that guy? And that's a good song. To even get that praise of who is that? Or, play that again. That's a pretty big praise from John Prine. Like if everything ended now, just knowing that I was on that guy's radar for a minute, like that's success to me. Like that's, I don't know, like what really gets better than that? Because we had a record ready to go that I wanted to put out, and that I recorded with my band in Cincinnati. But even knowing that Old Boy was possibly going to be an option, I held on to it. I was like, man, I just want to see where this goes. I was like, I kind of have a good feeling about it. I was like, but even if it doesn't work out, I know there's talks about it, so it's worth it. But then when it just all came together, I don't know. I've told people it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like it's just any label. It's John, it's the label that he made so he could do things his way. And I respect that so much about that label. And they still are doing that. And that's what they've always done. And I think they just put out music that they like. My album's like the 55th, I think. And so it's not like they're putting out records, left and right. I don't know. It's just a huge honor. And it's kind of a surreal feeling. Like I talk about it all the time. Like I have to remind myself, like, that I'm on the label. It's where I wanted to end up. It's where I wanted to be, and I'm glad it worked out that way for sure.
I find this interesting. You kind of got your big break at 40.
Yeah.
What is that like? I mean, because I'm dealing with that myself. This whole like, oh my God, I'm in my 40s. What does this mean? And to get a break, and let's just call it, it's a little bit later in life.
For sure. Is that like? It's strange in some ways. I think music in general, depending on what you're trying to accomplish with music, or what you're trying to be, or what your end goal is, in some ways it's a young man's game, some people will say. But then on the other hand, I'm just trying to be a singer-songwriter and tell my story. I think I had to live, like, I don't know, at 20, what did I know at 20? Nothing. Even at 30, I really hadn't gone through enough where I feel like I could, do what I'm doing. And I couldn't have done it responsibly. I think it worked out the best way that it could, because I think if this would have happened when I was younger or in my 20s and, early 30s, that I would have found a way to probably mess it up somehow.
I'll be 42 this year, and I'm starting to be like, is it too late to do X? And it really isn't. I love hearing stories like this. You just come at it with wisdom, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. 100%. I had a lot of growing up to do, I think, and just mature. And I don't know. I've gotten a lot out of my system. We'll just say that. Over the years, I've gotten a lot out of my system. I feel good about the future, man. I feel good about it. I like what's going on now. I think I'm in a good spot. And yeah, I think it all worked out the way that it should have, and probably the only way that it really could have.